on their mind and for lack of better words, gnawing at them, right? And
Well,
that's from experience.
I'm going to tell you this from experience. I am scared to put a number on how many nights I prayed for you after some of those conversations.
Uh, it worked. I appreciate it. It worked. But that was my thing, right? When I was and y'all heard my testimony, and like I said, I think a lot of those conversations were not necessarily me challenging Christianity. It was more of I wanted to explain to me, in a way that I could understand it and not just end up with more questions. You know what I mean? And Bill was a big part of that. I'm 100% certain along the way somewhere me and Joey had conversations. I'm my uncle from Ada. All these different aspects of my family life. Uh, they all were pointing me in this one direction. Yet here goes stubborn, prideful Herschel who says, "Nope, I know better." Right? And
Well, let me ask you a question.
mhm.
Um, looking back at it now, taking a reflection back at everything that you've gone through as far as the atheism goes, are you seeing that now as God was literally there preparing you to show you that He was real?
I've actually thought about this before. I, I, do you want me to be honest? This is the best way I've been able to rectify it in my mind. I feel like it was God's way of he knows I'm a stubborn person, right? Yeah, he knows it, and I feel like that was his way. He's like, go ahead, you do whatever you got to do, but when you get ready, I'll show you what's right, right? And it's the same thing. This is a good example, right? It's the same way with my son right now. I have a 3-year-old son, right? I can say, hey, this is how you do this, right? Like this is how you write your name, just as an example. This is how you write your name, right? And he's gonna mess it up over and over and over and over and over again, right? And
Until
I'm
He
like,
gets it
cool.
right.
And then, but no, I'll go to help him, right? I'll go ahead, listen how you do it again. Look, this is it, right here. Watch, this is how you do it. And then what happens? He gets mad. He gets aggravated, right? No, I can do this. Give it to me. I'll do it. Give it to me, right? And eventually, after so long, he gets so frustrated and so distraught, honestly, over just writing his name. He's 3. But he gets so distraught, he'll be like, all right, just here, show me how to do it. Here you go. And that's honestly what it feels like. It was like I was a juvenile. That's what it feels like.
We all were at one time.
I still see
Even
myself as a juvenile sometimes. God spanks me every day.
Amen on that one. He does me
Amen.
too.
well, see, one flaw, and I do believe our church gets this right. Maybe right's not the right word. Closer to right, better than I've seen other churches. Uh, I'm talking about children because I was one of them. You're made to go to church as a kid. This is what you do. This is what we believe. But nobody slows down and really breaks down why this is what we believe. Why you know, it's almost like elders tell children, you believe this because I said so. Well,
Exactly.
that leads to where Bus was. That is what that leads to.
It leads to doubt. I mean, that's
Right.
exactly what it leads to. And like I don't remember if I said this when I was testifying because I said a lot of stuff in that testimony that I hadn't intended to say. Uh,
I know that
but
feeling.
but this is the best way I've ever heard somebody who was in my position. If you're an atheist out there and you're listening to this is the best advice I could give you. Right before you doubt anything in this Bible, before you doubt God, and before you doubt if Jesus Christ or any of this is real, doubt your doubts.
Right.
That's the best advice because a lot of atheists that exist in this world never take the time to consider that maybe they are wrong.
That's right.
And that's just a prideful nature. Atheists are some of the most prideful people you can imagine.
Could that have?
I know more than the Bible. That's what an atheist is saying. I know more than the Bible, and it's
Well,
not true.
well, I'm gonna ask you a question. Coming out of that lifestyle, this is a question that I can't wrap my head around this.
Mhm.
Atheists say they don't believe in God, they don't believe in Jesus Christ, yada yada yada. How do atheists justify celebrating Christmas?
Yeah.
Every atheist I've ever met celebrates Christmas. How do y'all? How did they justify that? No, I started to say y'all.
Yeah, no, the same way. Going back to what you said, it's what you're taught when you're a kid, right? And that's how you get sayings like "Happy Holidays." That's how you get sayings. Or remember, I haven't seen this in a while, but it used to be a really prevalent thing where people put Xmas. Remember that?
Yep.
That's how they take the Christ out of it. They take the Christ out of it, and it becomes a monetary holiday. Look how much money I spent on these gifts for y'all.
Okay.
And
Okay.
that's the truth of it. The real one, you want to know the real question?
Sure.
Hold on 1 second. Sorry about that. Brittany had to come out here. The real question that I, as somebody who was an atheist, right, that is now a Christian, this is the one. If you want to trip up an atheist, this is the best way to do it, right? And this is from experience, when an atheist is in dire need of something, dire need. I mean, like they lost all their money, they lost a loved one, they lost something that is traumatizing, something like that, right? Atheists pray. Most of them do, right? In a situation like that.
Right. Like
So,
the airplanes crashing situation. Oh
airplanes-
God, help me.
if you don't believe it, who are you praying to?
That is right.
Yeah.
That is.
Oh,
correct.
now he's showing up for you.
Exactly. That is the stance, and this is mine and most of the atheist people that I knew and hung around with. That's the truth. Like when you get in a situation that is dire, you pray, right? And the question is, who you praying? If it's not real, who you praying to?
That's
And
right.
don't trip it. And this is one also, since we're going to talk about atheism. This is one that I used to use, and I'm finna tell everybody. I hope somebody listens to this and gets this question, because it is the best way to answer it. And it's funny because I asked myself this question. I used to ask other people, Christians specifically, this question, and I ask myself this now, and I believe I got the right answer. They ain't believe so. I got the right answer. Have any of you ever been asked, God can do anything, right?
Right.
Yep.
So can he create a rock that he can't lift? Right? So
Yeah.
it's a paradox question, right? But atheists
Right.
use questions like that. And there's actually examples of that in the Bible. Mark, I can't remember the verse, but in Mark, the Sadducees asked Jesus a paradox question like that. And it's here's the answer. The answer is yes, he can. Okay, well then how, if he can't lift it, but he can do all things? Oh no, he can lift it, right? Well, wait a
Right.
minute. He created a rock he couldn't lift, but then he can lift it? Yes, he can, because the rules were at the beginning of this, God can do anything. So he
That
can
is
create the
correct.
rock, and then he can lift it if he wants to.
That is correct. Well, there's also another way to answer that, because this is truth. God's not going to do anything without a purpose, and
That's
there
true.
would be no purpose to what you just said.
That's true too. That's very true. That's very, very true. Like I said, that was just one of the questions I like to ask, because if you're new in the faith and you haven't studied and you haven't, brand new, right? That's a question that'll trip you up. It
Yeah,
really is.
you're right.
And that's what it's designed to do. That's the unfortunate mindset of atheists, and back to the old saying, misery loves company, right? So,
Yep.
Christian, if you're a true Christian and you believe and you've accepted and repented, then you're a happy person. You have peace.
Yeah,
Right?
that is correct.
Atheists are not that, and they're going to do what they can to bring you down to their level. And that's speaking from experience.
Right.
Yeah, I work with a few, so I know exactly what you're saying.
Well, I'll tell you another thing, and Mr. Ray said this to me. Oh, actually, no, I'll tell you about Mr. Wayne said this to me. And I hadn't thought about it in the way he had said it in before, but he's right. The reality, and this goes back to what I was saying earlier about the praying thing. I don't think there's really an atheist out there. I don't think so. Because like I said, if they were atheists, who they pray to?
That's true.
And people who don't believe, people who say, "Oh, there is no God, there is no this," they can say that, and it's blasphemous. But they can say it, but deep down, like I said during my testimony, it's true. Deep down, even in the peak of my atheist ways, right? I knew it, because you can feel it. When you read it, and atheists do read the Bible, right? And they read it for the wrong reasons. They read it just to see if they can find a loophole or a hole or something like that in it, right? But they read it, and when you read it, you know. You just do. You may not want to admit it, but it's blatantly obvious once you start reading the Bible. That is true, even to atheists.
Right. Well, I have a much simpler way of just everything you just said is true. So I'm not trying to contradict anything you just said. But a lot of scientists / atheists want to believe in this Big Bang theory. That life on Earth was 100% a mistake, or just absolute perfect coincidence.
It's an accident.
A great accident. There is no way you gonna make me believe that you had this Big Bang, and the Earth. There's a whole lot of subjects we could pick, but we'll use the Earth. Was blown exactly in the perfect degree setting to sustain life. Then you had microorganisms that clung to a piece of rock and landed on this particular planet, and life started in a mud puddle, and all the different forms of life you have today. Come on, man. That takes too much faith to believe all that.
Hey, exactly. Like
And
I said at the
spermia.
end, I said at the end of my testimony, I don't have enough faith to be an atheist anymore. It takes a lot. And this is it's a satirical show, right? But
Yep.
they got this right. There's a show. I don't know if it's that popular anymore, but it's called Always Sunny in Philadelphia.